Hello, everybody. Welcome back to episode 5 of the Survivor 49 Power Rankings. I will note I've been sick a little bit the past couple days, so if I sound like shit, that's why. With that being said, this episode sucked. Straight up, I did not enjoy this episode. And from an Edgic point of view, it just further establishes the same. However, what isn't the same, as you can clearly see, are the tribes, as we had the tribe swap, finally into 2 tribes of 7. We will start out, as we've been doing, with the Kelly tribe. I say as we've been doing, but Hina lost this time, so it's more interesting to discuss. And Kelly is a very laughable tribe from an Edgic's perspective. This tribe is legitimately filled up with pretty much entirely non-contenders and people I'm at best on the fence about. So I have a feeling this side of the analysis is going to be much, much quicker than the alternative. Let's start out with the person I'm somehow the highest on this tribe, which is Alex, which, as I've stated in previous videos, very conflicted about Alex's edit. However, he's somehow the best on this tribe. He's still getting consistent content. He's still a very solid player, seemingly so. He seems to be well insulated and people want to work with him. The issue is, for one, overexposure. I mean, he is by far the biggest character of the season, sans Sophie or Savannah at this point. And for kind of unwarranted reasons, truthfully, I think Alex is a little boring. I don't think he's like a bad guy or anything. I do think he's kind of boring, though. And as such, I mean, his edit comes across nice. It reads us fairly well. But I think a lot of it just boils down to how much we've seen him. I think he's very much being set up as like the Shan of the season, is kind of the trajectory I see for Alex. Next up, going from top to bottom, we have Sage, who sucks. However, she's calling Shannon out on her bullshit, so like that's awesome. We'll get to that later, but that's a whole shindig. Sage is still clearly on the bottom. Sage is still clearly dangling in the game, not getting much content, let alone anything to actually prop her edit up. She's still in a very dire strait, but I think that she's at least going to survive a tribal or two, so we'll see where her edit ultimately lies. Following that, we have Steven, who once again continues to get a little bit of content, this time also noting Shannon for her bullshit, so love that. Ultimately, I think Steven is just still kind of more of the same. Just initial Hina members clearly don't have a chance if this is the best edit any of them have gotten up through episode 5. So it's hard for me to take Steven all that seriously, although I do like him, generally speaking. Now we have Shannon, who there's reasons not to like Shannon. I'm personally not a religious person. I find her very annoying. So I'll just let that be out there. And even within that, I think it's very clear she's being set up as like she's on the outs of this tribe. I think that she's very blatantly going to be swap screwed. I'm going to be shocked if Shannon survives next episode. But I don't know. She had good content earlier on in the season, so that's mainly what's keeping her in contention. Next up, we have MC, who didn't get much. In fact, I don't remember MC getting anything. She had a good showcase in the challenge, I guess, but like, that means fuck all. So, yeah, MC's probably still going to stay middle of the pack. Moving up, we have Christina, who did finally get a bit more moments to pop, had a great scene with Shannon, got to talk about the passing of her mother, but we still know nothing about her game, and little about her actual person outside of that. Christina has just had such a disappointing edit, because she seems like such a fun personality, and such just like a kind person, that I just wish she was on the show more. It's a shame. And lastly, we have Sophie, who got something, a confessional that said fuck all, but it was there. Sophie Sagrati is on the fucking season, bitches. and is also right about the food. Like, I'm sorry, Jeff, honey, shut the hell up. Why are we trying to shame this woman who is astutely pointing out the fact that not getting any fucking carbohydrates outside of rice and having very limited protein resources is not gonna be a good thing? Obviously, she doesn't want fucking bananas. Holy shit, Jeff, stop trying to act like people are wrong. So now we have the Hina tribe, starting with Jason, who was there. Barely got any content on the episode. Once again, disappointing. I think Jason seems like a nice guy, a fun personality, but they just don't give him anything. I want to hear him make the Smash Bros. Analogies. Let the man talk about Smash Bros. Incredibly disappointing. Now we have Jawan, who Jawan is just starting to fucking piss me off, man. Jawan is so bad. He's terrible at the game. He's clearly at the bottom of his tribe, yet doesn't even try and entertain the move that Matt brings up, which I don't even necessarily think is like a great move for Jawan, but you can at least pendulum back at that point and like say that he did something to have a resume. It's just incredibly disappointing. And then in confessional, he's gloating. He's gloating about not making this move. And it's like, Jawan, what the fuck, bro? Incredibly disappointing from somebody that I was really excited for preseason. We have the boot of the episode, Matt, who Matt came across shockingly well this episode. I don't think anybody would have expected Matt to be as sound and solid strategically as he was, clearly pointing out like the best move that he possibly could make to survive. I think ultimately it was just proposed a bit too late. They got Sophie a bit earlier than Matt ever even thought to. He was clearly the bigger threat of him and Jason, with Jason at least helping out in puzzles. It's not necessarily surprising that Matt's the boot, but I was very much surprised by the actual amount of gameplay that he showed. Next up, we have the winner. We have Savannah, who, holy fuck, Savannah's edit is just so ridiculous. I don't understand why the entire episode is essentially built around this split vote plan for Jason that isn't even like a big deal. He gets 2 votes in a 4-2-1. What are we doing? And yet Savannah's getting all of the content. Savannah finds Rizzo's Beware advantage clue? What? And obviously you need to show that. That's circumstantial. But, like, we're getting to the point to where Rizzo doesn't even get to find his proper advantage. It's crazy. Savannah is just so far and away number one, even despite how overexposed she is. It's just all of her content is here for seemingly no reason. And it's endless. In Savannah's edit is actually bonkers. And following that, we have Nate, who this is definitely a pretty light Nate episode, all things considered, which is pretty bad for a swap episode where this is meant to be one of the bigger events in the season. He does clearly make the move to get Matt out and is successful in that, but I feel like we get it more so from Rizzo, and we get to see more of Savannah and Sophie's point of view, to where I'm starting to cool down on Nate even more than I already was, despite me still thinking that he's solid in the game and probably will have a deep run, all things considered. Following Nate, we have R-I-Z-G-O-D, Rizgod Baby. That'll probably be the last time that I say it. It's starting to get fucking annoying every time in the season. I'm getting a bit over this cast, truthfully. Despite that, I think Rizzo had a good showing here, but it's still, Rizzo's content comes across in such a strange way where it always comes across so secondary, or like he's not really meant to be taken super seriously. And I find it really strange because it's clear he's going to be a main character. It's clear he's making it very far this season. But I just feel like every time he's on the screen, it's like, I'm not taking him seriously. And I don't know if it's because of the Rizgod personality and them leaning into that, but just something about Rizzo's content always comes across a bit off to me. So I don't know. I do think that he does have a strong episode here, being one of the people pushing for Matt to go, ultimately getting that through, despite not finding the fucking clue, because that's a thing. We do get to see him finding the idol and have a good showing there. Speaks okay at Tribal, but this Tribal just frustrated me. I felt like Matt and Jason were being treated a bit unfairly considering circumstance. It is what it is, though. So, yeah. Finally, we have Sophie, who can't catch a break, has to go to another tribal, and it's just, I feel bad for Sophie. But honestly, Sophie's just getting more of the same content, having her be in the middle of another tribe here, really being one of the ones that's helping to call the shots, is in with Savannah and wanting to get Jason out, ultimately is unsuccessful. But once again, this gets all the content for the fucking strategic side of the episode. So, like, why is it here? So, obviously, she gets bumped for that. I just think at this point, Sophie is clearly one of the best edited players, but has probably one, maybe two people directly above her at this point for me. So let's get into the ranking. And as much as I really, really do just want to put Jawan at the bottom, I do think I need to have Sage and Sophie at the bottom couple slots. I'm going to put Sage at the dead bottom at 13 and Sophie at 12. After then, I think the debate becomes between... the debate becomes for me between Christina and Jawan. And while I think Jawan is at least getting content, so I'm going to put Christina at 11 despite her having a bit more, and Jawan at 10 just because of how bad Jawan's content is. I think at 9, Shannon makes sense. She's being set up for potentially having a fall here, and I don't see super longevity for her. But she has at least had, like, stronger content in the past to at least elevate her. From here, I think we're kind of just rounding out most of Kelly. Oh, nope, Jason. Forgot about Jason. Jason should have probably been a tad lower, but we'll just stick him at 8. Who cares? I like Jason. And then we're just going to round out most of the Kelly tribe here. At 7, I'm going to have MC. And at 6, I'm going to have Steven. And then, Nate versus Alex is tricky. Because I feel like Alex got much better content this episode. But his overexposure is worse than I feel like Nate's more cooldown episode on this one. I think I'm going to put Alex at 5. And then I'm going to have Nate at 4. Is what I'm going to stick with here. And then top 3, it's really just a debate this time of whether or not I think Rizzo is better or worse than Sophie. I think ultimately I am going to have Rizzo above Sophie this episode. So Sophie at 3, Rizzo at 2, and per the usual, Savannah is still clearly at 1. That being said, though, that is my power ranking, so just to run through it real quick. 13, I have Sage. 12, Sophie. 11, Christina. 10, Jawan. 9, Shannon. 8, Jason. 7, MC. 6, Steven. 5, Alex. 4, Nate. 3, Sophie. 2, Rizzo. And number 1, I have Savannah. With that being said, be sure to comment down below your list. I'm really curious to see what everybody has to say. I'm also open to any ideas for potential casting or maybe top 10 videos. I will do pretty much whatever. With that being said, I really hope that you all enjoy and you have a great one. Bye.